let's dive right in. We all hear about the massive potential of AI in pharmacovigilance, but today, we're not talking about some giant, risky, multi-year project. Nope, we're talking about making that promise real, right now, with smart AI copilots that deliver results you can actually see.
Look, we know pharmacovigilance is the absolute bedrock of drug safety, but let's be honest, it's drowning in data. We're talking about a constant flood of physicians' emails, scanned forms, notes from call centers. It's all unstructured, and it all needs someone to sit there and manually review it. It's just slow, it's begging for errors to happen, and it's a huge, huge bottleneck.
So the temptation, right? The temptation is to launch this massive AI project to fix everything all at once. But the reality is, those giant projects, they usually get tangled up in their own complexity and end up failing to deliver much of anything. The real secret to success isn't one giant leap for mankind, it's a series of smart, fast, and really strategic little steps.
And that, right there, brings us to the heart of what we're talking about today. The quick wins revolution. This is about completely shifting how we think about bringing AI into our day-to-day work.
So what in the world is a quick win? Let's be clear, it's not about cutting corners. It's a really sharp, strategic tool. We're talking about an AI solution you can roll out fast, one that zeroes in on a very specific pain point, gives you a return on investment you can actually measure, and, this part is crucial, it gets your team fired up and builds real momentum for whatever's next.
And this quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head. It really illustrates what's at stake here. Without these tangible, early successes, all those grand, clever plans for AI transformation, they're just that. Plans. They're just ideas on paper. These quick wins are what make it all possible.
Okay, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and see what these AI copilots actually look like in the real world, solving real pharmacovigilance problems.
So, challenge number 1 is an old classic: processing individual case safety reports. You get an email from a doctor describing an adverse event. Right now, someone has to read that email word for word and painstakingly pull out all the key data points to fill out a structured safety database. We've all been there.
Now, check this out. The solution is beautifully simple. You use a secure, enterprise-grade tool like Claude with projects, where your data stays completely private, or Gemini on Google's Vertex AI, which can be covered by a HIPAA BAA. You literally just upload the email or the form, and the AI copilot extracts all those E2B data fields for you. The return on investment is immediate. We're talking a 30 to 40% drop in manual data entry time, right out of the gate.
And the real key, the secret sauce, is giving the AI crystal clear instructions. Instead of vaguely asking it to summarize something, you create a really specific prompt that tells it the exact data structure you need for your ICSR. It's the perfect example of a human expert guiding a powerful tool to get a precise, perfect result.
All right, let's move on to the next major bottleneck: literature surveillance. Every single day, thousands of new medical articles get published, and somewhere in that absolute mountain of text could be the very first clue about a new safety signal for your product. Finding it is critical, but man, is it a laborious manual task.
So the quick win here is to use your AI copilot as an intelligent triage filter. Tools like Perplexity Spaces are amazing for setting up ongoing automated monitoring. Meanwhile, Google's NotebookLM is just fantastic for chewing through a huge batch of documents all at once. The AI reads and categorizes everything, flagging only the most relevant articles for a human to review. The time savings are just staggering. You're turning a multi-hour slog into a focused 5-minute review.
And you guessed it, it all kicks off with a great prompt. You can tell the AI to run a super specific search. Sure, a human could do it, but the AI can do it relentlessly, every hour of every day, making sure that nothing ever slips through the cracks. It's all about augmenting your team's powers, not replacing them.
Okay, now for the big one, the Everest of PV paperwork, assembling aggregate reports like PSURs. This is just a massive job, often taking weeks, sometimes even months, of painstaking work to gather data, synthesize all the literature, and write these incredibly complex analytical sections.
This right here is where large context window models like Claude are an absolute game changer. A 200,000 token window. What that really means is you can upload entire safety database exports, your risk management plans, literature summaries, all of it at the same time. The AI can hold all that context in its head and then draft specific, complex sections of the report for you. The result? You can automate around 70% of the content assembly. You're turning weeks of work into mere days. And the prompts can get incredibly sophisticated. You can ask the AI to take on a high-level medical writing task, like synthesizing multiple complex sources to draft a whole benefit-risk analysis. You see, this isn't just data extraction anymore. This is a true co-pilot for high-level scientific thinking.
So with all these options, you might be wondering, okay, which tool is for which job? Well, think of this slide as your practical cheat sheet. For things like case narratives, Claude's writing style is just fantastic. For literature search, Perplexity is the king because it gives you cited sources, which is absolutely critical for verification. Analyzing a huge pile of documents, NotebookLM is brilliant because it's source-grounded. It's all about picking the right tool for the job at hand.
Okay, so you're sold. You see the potential. But how do you actually get started? Let's map out what your first month could look like. Now, before you write a single prompt, you have to nail down security and compliance. This is completely non-negotiable. So the number one rule is use enterprise-grade tools only. The Cloud API, for example, doesn't train on your data and can offer a HIPAA BAA. Same goes for Gemini on Google's Vertex AI. These platforms were built from the ground up for the security and privacy needs of life sciences.
Here's the playbook. Week 1, pick your first quick win. ICSR processing is a perfect place to start. Week 2, get a small, eager team set up on the tools. Week 3 is go time. Run the pilot with real cases and document everything. The time saved, the accuracy. Then, Week 4 is all about scaling that success. Train the wider team, build a shared library of prompts that you know work, and most importantly, define your human-in-the-loop quality control process.
So when you put all these pieces together, what's the ultimate impact? You know, it's more than just being more efficient. It's a fundamental change in the very role of the pharmacovigilance professional.
Let's just bring this number back up for a second. 70%. 70% of content assembly for periodic reports automated. Just take a moment and think about the sheer volume of expert human hours that frees up.
And this is the real prize. The AI Copilot handles the repetitive, manual grind of processing and assembling data, and that frees up your human experts to do what they do best: apply their deep scientific knowledge to become true strategic analysts. They can now focus on complex signal validation, nuanced benefit risk assessment, and proactive safety strategy. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. When your most valuable experts are finally freed from that daily grind of manual data processing, when they have more time to think, to investigate, and to connect the dots, what critical safety signal will they discover next?
Welcome back. In our last explainer, we talked about some of the quick wins you can get with AI in drug safety. But to really, truly transform patient safety, we've got to go deeper. So today, we're rolling up our sleeves and giving you the complete implementation guide, a step-by-step look at how to build and deploy these powerful tools the right way.
So, why is this so critical right now? Well, our lead pharmacovigilance expert, who's been on the front lines for 20 years, always says the same thing. We are drowning in a data deluge. I mean, just look at these charts. The number of adverse event reports for medicines and vaccines hasn't just grown, it has absolutely exploded. This isn't just about more data, it's a real challenge to our ability to keep patients safe. And to put that explosion into perspective for you, Vigibase, that's the huge global database that's really the cornerstone for all drug safety monitoring, it now holds over 35 million individual reports. 35 million! Trying to manually process that and find the critical signals hidden inside that mountain of data, well, it's just becoming humanly impossible. And this right here is the exact moment where AI shifts from being some kind of nice-to-have tech into an absolute necessity. It is the only way we can scale to manage this data, find those critical needles in the haystack, and, at the end of the day, protect patients. So let's dive into the guide on how to actually do it right. Okay, here's our roadmap. We're going to start with building a solid foundation. Then we'll walk the path from writing code to meeting compliance. After that, we'll see AI in action with some real-world examples, cover the core principles for building trust, and finally, we'll take a peek at the future of drug safety.
All right, first things first. Before you write a single line of code, before you buy any software, a successful AI project has to start with a solid, strategic foundation. If you get this part wrong, trust me, everything that follows is built on shaky ground.
And the first big decision you're going to face is build versus buy. If you build it yourself in-house, you get total control, full customization, but it's going to cost you both in time and money.
If you buy a pre-built tool, you can get up and running way faster for a lower initial cost, but you're kind of stuck with what the vendor gives you. There's no single right answer here. It all comes down to your budget, your timeline, and how unique your needs really are. Now, our lead AI engineer, he always hammers home these 3 pillars. Number 1, your data has to be clean and standardized. It's the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. Number 2, you have to talk to the regulators early and often to make sure your plan is compliant from the get-go. And number 3, and this might be the most important one, you have to prepare your people. The safety teams need training for new tools and new workflows.
So once that foundation is in place, the next huge step is navigating the incredibly complex world of regulatory compliance. See, this isn't just about building cool tech. In the world of medicine, it's about building trusted, validated, and provably safe systems.
And this quote from the CIOMS working group really just hits the nail on the head. AI isn't magic. It's not perfect. It can have inaccuracies. So from day one, we have to take a risk-based approach, one that knows there might be errors and has a plan to manage them so patient safety is always the top priority.
Now, in the super-regulated pharmaceutical world, we prove our systems are safe through a process called Computerized System Validation, or CSV. You can think of it as the formal, documented proof that shows your system does exactly what you say it does, reliably and consistently every single time.
And the good news here is that the old ways of doing this are evolving. The modern framework, known as GAMP5, is moving away from these rigid, paper-heavy models of the past. It actually encourages critical thinking and more agile, risk-based methods, which, you can imagine, is a much better fit for a dynamic technology like AI. Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this stuff actually look like in practice? Let's jump into some concrete examples of where AI is already making a huge difference in pharmacovigilance today.
Okay, let's take drug coding. It's a tedious but super critical task. A study looked at an AI tool called Who Drug Coda, and it found the tool achieved 86% accuracy in coding reports. Now compare that to a simple text matching baseline, which only hit about 60%. That is a massive improvement. It means more accuracy and way less manual grunt work.
Or how about signal detection? AI can automate these incredibly complex workflows. This chart shows how an AI can spot alternative causes for an adverse event and then automatically dismiss what are likely false positive signals. And what that does is free up the human experts to focus their precious time on the signals that truly matter for patient safety.
And hey, if you want a picture of pure complexity, look no further than this workflow from the FDA for assessing a single safety report. You don't need to read every little box to get the point. Look at all those steps and decision points. This is exactly where AI can be a powerful assistant, helping to manage duplicates, check for causality, and prioritize the most urgent cases so that human experts can make those final, critical judgments much more efficiently.
So with AI having all these powerful capabilities, building and maintaining trust is absolutely paramount. And that trust rests on a really clear, internationally recognized set of guiding principles for responsible AI.
First up, and this one is the most important, human oversight. This is completely non-negotiable. The human expert is always in command, always in the loop, using AI as a tool. The final decision, the accountability, that always rests with a person.
Second, the system has to be what we call valid and robust. In simple terms, that just means it has to do the job it was designed for, and do it reliably. It needs to behave as expected, not just when the data is perfect, but also when it runs into messy, unexpected information out in the real world. Third, transparency is absolutely key. Regulators, doctors, patients, everyone needs to understand when and how AI is being used. Now, this doesn't mean we have to share the raw computer code, but it does mean being really clear about the system's purpose, its limitations, and the risks involved. And a final critical principle is all about fairness. Let's be honest, health data can reflect historical biases. So a huge part of building a good AI system is actively checking for and correcting these potential biases to make sure the system works effectively and equitably for everyone.
Sticking to these principles isn't just about checking a compliance box. It's what unlocks an incredible future for pharmacovigilance, one that looks very, very different from how we work today.
The ultimate goal here is to shift drug safety from being a reactive discipline, waiting for bad news to come in, to a truly forward-looking one. We're moving towards proactive prediction,
using AI for real-time monitoring that connects all the fragmented data into one big picture of patient safety. And all of this is done while augmenting, never replacing, the incredible wisdom of our human experts.
And that leaves us with a final, really powerful question to think about as this technology keeps getting better. How do we make that leap? How do we use these tools, not just to react faster, but to get ahead of the curve and actually prevent harm before it happens? It's not just about doing the same job faster, it's about fundamentally changing the mission of drug safety for the better.